IVM.
Welcome to All Things Policy, a daily podcast supported by Pragati, a flagship media initiative of the Takshashila Institution. We're a bunch of policy nerds based in Bengaluru, and we like to bring a fresh perspective to Indian affairs and an Indian perspective to global affairs. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and join us for today's chat.
Welcome to another episode of All Things Policy. I'm Shrey Khanna. I'm working on the Indo-Pacific program in the Takshashila Institution, and I'm joined by Megha Pardi, who is a research analyst in China Studies for Takshashila Institution. And today we are going to talk about the ongoing Quad cooperation in emerging technologies such as quantum. But before we start, I want to remind our listeners about an awesome 12-week graduate certificate program in defense and foreign affairs run by the Takshashila Institution, which is beginning on January 15, 2022. You can find out more about this and other public policy programs on school.takshashila.org.in. So, Megha, uh, welcome to the show. I wanted to ask to you about the recent US Australia agreement on quantum science research. If you can talk about that, and also if you can explain to our listeners what is quantum science research and why it is generating so much attention as far as international relations is concerned.
Hi, Shrey. Thank you so much. First, let me talk about quantum science and technology. This is basically a term which is used for a set of technologies that are derived from the theory of quantum mechanics, which again is describes behavior and properties at atomic and subatomic level. And a lot of it has to do with behavior of electrons in an atom. So this foundational theory of quantum mechanics is basis for a range of other fields like quantum computing, quantum chemistry, communications, and research in physics, chemistry, and even biology. So collectively, these technologies are called clubbed as quantum science and technologies. Despite how complicated this sounds, we have been using these applications based on laws of quantum mechanics for quite a while. For example, lasers, sensors in our digital cameras, LEDs that are electron microscopes. So these are all based on the applications of quantum mechanics. The reason it is generating so much attention is because the potential it holds future to build secure communication networks, which might be theoretically unhackable communication networks, or quantum supercomputers, which can solve certain problems in matter of minutes, which otherwise our classical supercomputers take hundreds of years to solve. So there's a lot of research going on in these areas by different countries and even companies like Google. So these applications have some severe implications for national security, and especially in cybersecurity. So since past few years, China has made incredible progress in this field of quantum science and technologies. So with quantum supercomputers and ultra secure communications infrastructure, so that's why it has become matter of concern in international relations.
Thanks, Megha, for this. And now, can you tell us more about the recent US Australia agreement?
Yes. So recently, United States and Australia signed an agreement for cooperation in quantum science and technologies. So this is based on their previous agreement on cooperation in general science, but this time they signed a specific agreement targeting quantum science research. So it essentially recognizes that applications which are based on quantum mechanics are come under purview of critical and emerging technologies. So purpose of this agreement is to explore, promote, and protect or support the development of research in this field. And they want to cooperate with Australia. They have a quantum policy dialogue, so they want to hold regular meetings of this quantum policy dialogue, and they want to set up the working level meetings to further explore how can they increase their cooperation. So this is not the first agreement US has signed. US has also recently signed an agreement with United Kingdom, a similar agreement on quantum science. Then there is question like why Australia? Because Australia, until few years ago, was one of the leading hotspots of research in quantum technologies. But it lost its spot, the dominant position, to other countries. So Australia is now trying to regain this spot. In fact, Australia's PM Scott Morrison recently announced a commitment of around $73 million to commercialize quantum research and forge links with global markets and supply chains. Also, in May 2021, there was a report by Australian Strategic Policy Institute, which had outlined that Australia needs to do more to regain its position. And one of the solution was to present or appoint a dedicated minister for critical and emerging technologies. And they also wanted Australia to increase the funding. So I think with this cooperation agreement and the announcement of funding, I think they have listened to that report.
Interesting. So, behind all this cooperation that is going on in Quad countries, recently there was a Sydney dialogue as well, and then this agreement. What is the single biggest reason, if you can, outline? Because these countries are not naming that reason directly. So, if you can, explain it to our listeners, what's that reason?
China. I mean, I think as far as currently any dialogue in technology goes, China seems to be the chief perpetrator behind why everybody is just so worried. So even with this agreement, China's shadow is quite evident on all these efforts to ramp up cooperation on quantum. So there are three key points here. First is this agreement is an effort by United States and Australia to surpass China's progress in quantum science and research and development. In past few years, as I have mentioned earlier, China has done tremendous progress in this field. They have world's first quantum satellite. They have also tested secure link, which theoretically is unhackable, although it's an experimental stage. They have also developed supercomputer based on quantum mechanics. Second is this is an effort to catch up with China before Chinese technology companies start defining standards like they did with Huawei. I mean, Huawei, when tremendous progress in 5G, it essentially defined how world is going to talk about, or whatever the standards were there for 5G. I think United States is trying to get ahead in quantum so that this does not happen again. Third, US and Australia are also trying to keep China from controlling the applications of quantum technologies in cybersecurity. As I said before, cybersecurity is a very sensitive issue. And if China is successful in developing their communication networks such that they're impenetrable and also have a computing power so that they can just, decrypt other communication systems using quantum supercomputers, and it is theoretically possible. So that might pose a bigger challenge for other countries. And this is not science fiction thing. If you read upon statements and direction of thought and basically research from Chinese scholars and even PLAs, their military scholars, they write quite frequently about this. I mean, they want a stronger communication, better computing power, so that they can have this supremacy in cyber applications. So I think this threat is not unjustified, not totally unjustified.
Thanks, Megha, for outlining China's role in providing the push to this Quad cooperation. Now we are going to take a short break and we are going to come back and chat for more.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Ikka Dukka Economy, Abhinav talks to Dr. Bharat Junjunwala, author and professor of IIM Bangalore, to discuss inflation and its effects on our daily lives. On Storytellers and Storytellers, Vinny sits down to talk to Ankit Chauhan, aka Oye Ankit, the man behind the internet's most viral mashups. On Press Decode, Sarah Vagda and Prafulla discuss the biggest news of the week, the brand new COVID variant Omicron. On The Longest Constitution, Priya takes us through gender inequity at work and how women have changed these regulations. And on Agla Station Adulthood, Ritash and Ayushi talk to Nikhil Taneja. Nikhil is an old friend of the network. He's the founder and CEO of Yuva. Yuva is a socially conscious youth media organization, and in this episode, he discusses toxic masculinity. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. And finally, do remember that many of our shows are available on YouTube. You can check that out by going to our website, ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, where we have a list of all of our various YouTube channels. Finally, we'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, HDFC Mutual Fund, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Intel, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Welcome back. So, Shreya, I was thinking that after, when I was working on this topic and I was reading and listening to all these efforts by US and Australia and even other countries, France and Germany are also making efforts to, get ahead in this quantum game. So it obviously raises the question, where is India in this picture? What role can India play?
Before I come to India, I want to highlight that Quad as a group of countries have highlighted the importance of working together on critical emerging technologies on multiple occasions. Because since, as you already alluded to, a geopolitical jostling is going on in the Indo-Pacific, and emerging technologies are a key part of it. They will define the future and therefore become a tool of a great power rivalry. Now, previously, leaders of Quad countries they have spoken about the importance of cyber security and fostering cooperation in critical technologies. In the recently concluded Sydney dialogue, which was attended by Prime Minister Modi in Australia. As far as India is concerned, lately we are seeing a push for emerging technologies by India, especially quantum tech. So, for example, in the 2020 budget, the government of India it announced a national mission of quantum technologies and applications with an outlay of rupees 8,000 crore over the period of next 5 years. Then this year in January, India and Japan signed a memorandum of understanding (MOU) to enhance cooperation in information and communication technologies. Similarly, India and Australia have also signed an MOU on critical minerals, and they have agreed to establish a India-Australia joint working group on cybersecurity cooperation. So even before the Quad summit, which happened in September this year, India launched Quantum Simulator to facilitate research in this area. So there has been progress as far as Indian side of the Quad is concerned in the emerging technologies, including quantum technologies.
Yeah, thank you, Shreya. It is interesting to know that India has been doing much more than what we actually know in this emerging technology sector. So, Shreya, what do you think India can do to further increase cooperation among the Quad countries in the field of emerging technologies?
If you remember in the recently concluded Sydney dialogue, Prime Minister Modi had identified, and I quote him, he said that new risks and new forms of conflicts across diverse threats from seabed to cyber to space. So he alluded to these emerging threats, and he also talked about investing in 6G technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. So there is a growing recognition of this threat of being left behind by China or let China dictate the terms of future technologies, as you talked about. Now, if we take an example of Huawei, many in India were concerned about allowing Huawei to build 5G infrastructure for quite long, but the government went along in allowing it for 5G trials. And only after the relationship deteriorated in March 2020 that subsequently Huawei's participation was restricted. So, as this example shows, there are both practical issues in terms of economic viability, since Huawei had been in partnerships with Indian giants for their previous projects in 4G, etc. And there are political issues, important political issues as well, how we see China or our relationship with China, since we want to keep an appeasement door open for the Chinese. And we continue to see the deteriorating relationship with the Chinese as part of only perceptional difference on the LSE and not something like a structural problem which exists between the two rising power. And this inhibits what is called the whole of government approach, which is practiced in China, but increasingly it is talked about in countries like US and Australia, that how we need a whole of government approach if we need to counter China's advances. So, having said that, we are still likely to move because there is structural pressure on us. We see that threat from China, so we are likely to move forward. And in this regard, I think there are some things that we are likely to do. For example, cooperation agreement with like-minded countries like Australia or other Quad countries for joint projects. Australia has taken a step to cooperate with India in this direction. Their consulate general in Bengaluru and a center of excellence for critical and emerging technology policy in India, they have established here in India. Another thing that we can do is to encourage startups to provide more funding to startups which are working in critical technologies rather than providing another food delivery app. So if there is more funding in that area, if commercialization becomes lucrative, then there will be ecosystem from which we can tap into as far as national security is concerned. Then India also has reserves of rare earths, which are very important for emerging technologies. India can also look to find a way to tap into that. So these are some of the things which India is likely to do in the future, other than investing our own resources in emerging tech like quantum.
I think that food delivery point was, I mean, yeah, we do have a lot of startups which are not in the direction which we really want. I mean, of course, food delivery is important, but we also want more startups in critical and emerging technologies. So that's a good point. Regarding rare earth elements, also, I agree. I mean, because Australia and China, they both have been leaders in this field because they also have a lot of strategic, they have advantage regarding rare earth elements. And in case of startups also, I can say that Chinese startups have been contributing a lot to the commercialization of quantum technologies. So I also agree on that point. I think what I wanted to add. Yeah, thank you.
So that was an interesting discussion. Thank you, Megha, for joining me on the show. That's it for today. Thank you for listening in. Listeners, if you are interested, please check out our DFA Defense and Foreign Affairs course starting from January 15, 2022. You can find out about that on our website. Thank you.
If you liked our show, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can tune into them on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow IVM on social media. The handle is @IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And hey, if you'd like to dive into Takshashila's research on technology, strategy, and economic affairs, check us out at our Twitter handle @TakshashilaINST or our website takshashila.org.in.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood,
Get accustomed to womanhood.
enjoy the experience of sisterhood,
Might get to wifehood
or not, choose motherhood,
or not. You'll learn to define your personhood.
earn a livelihood,
Change the neighborhood.
and get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Natasha,
And me, Ayushi,
on a journey from station starting point
to station, what now?
next station, Pudin station, and hopefully Agla station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.
Don't you think that if everyone around you is getting smart, you better be smarter? Hey there, I'm the traveling professor Siddharth Deshmukh, and I'm back with season 2 of my podcast to make you smarter. Smarter with Sid. What's this season's focus about? Well, it's about 10-minute nuggets that will make you stand out at work. It's time to go from smart to smarter. Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday and become smarter with Sid.